Willie Nelson's story begins in the quiet town of Abbott, Texas, where life in the 1930s offered very little certainty. Born on April 29, 1933, he entered a world shaped by poverty, long days, and small opportunities. His parents were young and struggling, and before long, Willie and his sister Bobby were raised by their grandparents. Those grandparents brought stability, faith, and something that would change his life forever: music. His grandmother ordered songbooks and insisted the children learn them. When Willie first picked up a guitar at 6 years old, it wasn't just an instrument, it became a companion. The small Texas town did not promise fame or fortune, but it gave him something deeper. It gave him a sense of work, humility, and the quiet belief that music could say things words alone could not. Learning life through music. As Willie grew older, music became more than a pastime. It became a way of understanding the world around him. He worked hard in the Texas fields, picking cotton and helping farmers, learning early that dignity often comes from effort. Yet whenever he could, he played guitar and wrote songs. By 9, he was performing locally, and by 10, he was already writing lyrics that showed surprising maturity. The sounds around him shaped his musical instincts: gospel hymns from church, country melodies from the radio, and blues drifting through the night air. Each influence layered itself into his style. School mattered, but music mattered more. It gave him direction in a place where few roads seemed to lead anywhere special. For Willie, the guitar was not simply entertainment. It was a language that helped him process loneliness, hope, and the quiet dreams of a small-town boy. Searching for direction. After graduating from Abbott High School in 1950, Willie Nelson stepped into adulthood without a clear path but with strong determination. Like many young men, he tried different directions. He briefly joined the U.S. Air Force, hoping the structure would help him shape his future. When that chapter ended early, he returned to Texas and took on a variety of jobs, selling products door to door, working with tools, and taking any opportunity that allowed him to survive. Yet music followed him everywhere. He performed in small clubs, played in roadside venues, and eventually worked as a radio disc jockey. Those radio hours helped him understand listeners. Instead of performing for a crowd, he learned to sing as if speaking to one person at a time. That skill, his intimate style, would later become one of the most recognizable qualities in American music. Songs that found their way. Even while struggling financially, Willie kept writing songs with remarkable discipline. During those early years, he created some of the most memorable country compositions ever written. Songs like Funny How Time Slips Away, Hello Walls, and Crazy began as simple ideas scribbled in modest apartments. Other artists soon recorded them, turning them into major hits. While the world celebrated those songs, Willie himself remained largely behind the scenes. The success proved his talent, yet recognition as a performer still seemed distant. For many songwriters, this might have been discouraging, but Willie kept working. He understood that music often takes its own path. Even if the spotlight had not yet found him, the songs were reaching people, and that mattered. Each lyric carried a little piece of his experience, quietly connecting with listeners who recognized the honesty in his words. Nashville's difficult beginning. When Willie moved to Nashville in the early 1960s, he hoped it would finally open doors for his career. Nashville was the center of country music, but it also had strict expectations about how artists should sound and look. Willie's style didn't quite fit those expectations. His relaxed phrasing and conversational singing were very different from the polished sound the industry preferred at the time. While producers admired his songwriting talent, they were uncertain about him as a recording artist. Still, Willie continued performing and recording modest albums. He remained patient even when recognition moved slowly. Rather than change himself completely, he held on to his natural style. In hindsight, that decision was crucial. What seemed unusual then would later become exactly what audiences loved about him: the feeling that he wasn't performing for them but simply sharing something personal. A new beginning in Texas. A turning point arrived in the early 1970s when Willie decided to return to Texas. The move proved life-changing. In Austin, he found a music scene filled with young audiences who appreciated authenticity more than polished perfection. At venues like the Armadillo World headquarters, long-haired college students sat beside ranchers and veterans, all listening together. Willie felt free there in a way he never had before. He grew his hair longer, played music the way he wanted, and blended. country, folk, and rock influences naturally. This environment helped spark what became known as the outlaw country movement. Instead of following Nashville rules, these artists followed their own instincts. Willie Nelson suddenly found himself not only accepted but celebrated. For the first time, the industry realized that the qualities once criticized in him were actually his greatest strengths. The rise of an outlaw legend. By the mid-1970s, Willie Nelson's career reached extraordinary heights. Albums like Shotgun Willie and Red-Headed Stranger captured his unique voice and storytelling style. One song in particular, Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, became a major hit and introduced him to a much wider audience. The simplicity of his recordings stood out in an era filled with heavy production. Instead of elaborate arrangements, Willie often relied on little more than his voice, guitar, and honest emotion. Fans connected deeply with that simplicity. Soon he became one of the leading figures in country music's new direction. His music felt genuine, and listeners trusted it. The boy from Abbott who once struggled to be heard had finally found a stage where his individuality was not just accepted, it was celebrated. Facing financial challenges, even with success, life continued to test Willie's resilience. In 1990, he faced a major financial challenge involving unpaid taxes that threatened much of what he had built. Rather than retreat from the situation, Willie responded in the only way he knew how, through music. He recorded a special album with just his voice and guitar and sold it directly to fans. The response was overwhelming. Supporters across the country purchased the recordings and attended concerts, helping him gradually resolve the situation. It was a powerful reminder of the relationship he had built with his audience. For many fans, Willie Nelson wasn't simply a performer. He was someone whose music had accompanied their lives. That loyalty helped him rebuild. More importantly, it reinforced something Willie had always believed, that the connection between artist and listener is stronger than any temporary hardship. The later years of reflection. As the decades passed, Willie Nelson continued performing and recording with remarkable dedication. Age inevitably brought challenges, particularly with breathing and the physical demands of touring. Yet he adapted thoughtfully, adjusting his schedule and taking better care of himself. The stage remained his natural home. Even when his performances became quieter and more deliberate, the emotional depth in his voice grew stronger. Audiences appreciated the honesty of those later performances. They weren't watching a legend trying to relive the past. They were witnessing an artist still living in the present. His famous guitar, Trigger, remained by his side, worn from decades of playing, but still producing the familiar sound fans loved. Together, they represented a lifetime of music, imperfect, weathered, but deeply authentic. The man beyond the legend. In his later years, Willie Nelson's life centered increasingly on family, reflection, and community. His ranch in Texas became a gathering place where children, grandchildren, and friends could share time away from the spotlight. He continued supporting causes close to his heart, including Farm Aid, which he co-founded to support American farmers. Through decades of changing music trends, Willie remained committed to honesty above everything else. That honesty became his legacy. He showed that success does not require perfection. It requires authenticity and perseverance. When Willie Nelson walks onto a stage even today, audiences recognize something rare. They see not just a musician, but a man who spent a lifetime telling the truth through song. And in that truth, listeners often find a reflection of their own stories.